Let's begin with news coming in on the big war of words between the Kolkata police and the CBI. Remember how the CBI had said that the crime scene was compromised, and they said this in the Supreme Court too. The Kolkata police has now released a fresh picture, which is on your screens right now. And in this picture, they've said that look at what's happening around. There are very limited people around. The Kolkata police maintaining that these are only authorized personnel, meaning police officials, doctors and experts who are at the spot. This is not just the crime scene, but the point of occurrence. What that means is that behind that white sheet is where Abhaya's body was. This was the spot of inquest. And this is a picture put out by the Kolkata police to back their claims that the crime scene wasn't compromised. So they're saying the point of occurrence, where the body was, there was no sort of tampering whatsoever. It was sealed off and only authorized personnel were allowed there. This is a picture now where the Kolkata police is saying it corroborates our claims. It says very clearly, it shows very clearly that very limited people were allowed close to the body. They are attempting to counter what the CBI has put out essentially in the Supreme Court, saying not just the crime scene, the point of occurrence has been compromised, has been tampered with. And to counter that, the Kolkata police has put out this picture from August 9th, from the day when Abhaya's body was found, showing how a white sheet has essentially been put up in the seminar hall, because beyond the white sheet is where Abhaya's body was found. That's where they've put up that particular screen to ensure nobody else could catch a glimpse of the body. And all of the people around, according to the Kolkata police, are all authorized personnel. Now, if that is really the case, there are several questions that come up. Number one is then who leaked pictures of the body? If these are all authorized personnel, then clearly there was a breach from one of them, which is also hugely concerning. Secondly, you saw all of the back and forth from the hospital and those tapes which we've played out here repeatedly on India Today, in which the hospital administration tells the parents that Abhaya's in a critical condition, she's been moved to the emergency ward, she's passed away now. All of that clearly lies, because her body was very much kept exactly where it was found, even for the inquest. Let me bring in Suryagni Roy as well as Shreya Chatterjee for more details. Suryagni, to you first. The Kolkata police putting out this particular picture to say, look, at the point of occurrence, not the entire seminar hall, but the point of occurrence was untouched, untampered with, and only limited people were allowed close to Abhaya's body.
Well, Akshita, there needs to be a clarification on this. Kolkata police has not issued these pictures. These pictures were accessed by us. Then we found that these pictures are out on, on the internet. Now, the Kolkata police has clarified its stand on these two pictures that we are talking about. In these pictures, Akshita, we can clearly see that this is the point of occurrence and there are people in and around that particular, cordoned off area. This becomes important because the CBI time and again had stated, even at the Supreme Court, that the point of occurrence was tampered, which, had caused them issues in investigation. So now the Kolkata police, they have reacted on this particular picture that was, out on the internet. They have stated that this picture is from the 9th of August. It's around 4:40-ish when this picture was taken, and it is just after inquest, and no outsider is present in that particular picture which we are talking about. These are all the people who are a part of the investigating team. This becomes important once again. I need to reiterate myself that this becomes important because the CBI had claimed at the Supreme Court that the point of occurrence, PO, that was tampered, which caused them harm in their investigation. Now, speaking on this picture, the Kolkata police has stated that there were no outsiders in the PO or in the cordoned off area where the body was found. All these people, they were a part of the investigating team. Back to you.
Okay, all right. Suryagni putting those details out for us on exactly what the Kolkata police's clarification is. So this is not a picture released by the Kolkata police. It's a picture on which they've clarified to say that these are only authorized personnel who are allowed close to the mortal remains. Shreya Chatterjee is live with us to get us details of what the CBI has to say, because Shreya, the CBI has completely countered that. They say the crime scene has been tampered and compromised. They've said the point of occurrence also was compromised because they say people were allowed inside.
Well, first and foremost, Akshita, for this we have to understand the timeline of the entire piece of investigation. What the Kolkata police essentially is suggesting that from the time of their appearance in the crime scene, they ensured that the crime scene was not tampered. So the Central Bureau of Investigation, however, will be investigating a pre and a post scene on what exactly transpired, whether there was any kind of interference on the part of the hospital authorities. However, this photograph, as my colleague was rightly pointing it out, somewhere down the line corroborates what Kolkata police had earlier said, that they had used a white sheet and separated this point of occurrence, which is essentially the dais in the seminar room where the body of the deceased was found. And remember, when a video went viral, that was from the other half. So this is the alibi that the Kolkata police has been putting in. In this particular photograph, we can see the forensic team doing their work, which is collecting the exhibits, and also subsequently they must have gone ahead with the inquest procedure. So this is what the photo corroborates, and we can also see a Kolkata police officer who's standing outside the point of occurrence. So this is from the timeline after the Kolkata police had reached the spot and secured the crime of scene. But clearly, the CBI's investigation into an alleged cover-up continues with something they had also gone on record in the court suggesting that the crime scene was altered. So clearly, we'll have to wait and watch for the investigation.
The question is, okay, at the point of inquest, clearly the area was secured off. So even if, that happened, the question is, before this and after, was there a similar kind of cordoning off that took place? Before perhaps the Kolkata police reached the spot, was the area compromised? Is that what the CBI is indicating at? Or are they directly pointing fingers at the Kolkata police and saying that while the cops were deployed there, while the cops were there, the crime scene was tampered with?
Well, Akshita, as per the Kolkata police, and be it on record or on source base, Kolkata police time and again has maintained that it was 9:30 a.m. On Friday, 3 weeks back exactly. It's a third week. It was 3 weeks back exactly when they were when the body was first seen by someone, and then at around 10:10ish. The Kolkata police outpost was informed. There is an outpost of the Kolkata police at the Arjikar hospital, just like in every public hospital. So that is when they were informed, and immediately they had rushed to the spot and they had cordoned off the area at first. Now, as Shreya mentioned, that yes, Kolkata police has time and again maintained that ever since they were, they arrived at the PO, they arrived at the seminar hall, when they took it over, they made sure that no one had, entered the point of occurrence, or let's say the sealed off space. As Shreya mentioned, some days back we had, spoken about the news of a video that went viral, wherein we could see many people walking around one particular area. Kolkata police had even clarified their stand on it, that the room was, it's almost 50 feet in length. 40 feet from the point of occurrence was it was sealed, and the crowd that we could see, that too were part of the members, influential members of the hospital, doctors, EMOs, security guards, and parents. That was in the remaining 10% of that seminar hall, and beyond which was the passageway. So Kolkata police time and again they have maintained that the PO, the point of occurrence, that wasn't tampered with, and it's only them and them only who have been present at the spot. Back to you.
Okay. So they've maintained there's no question of the crime scene being tampered with. They followed due process, due protocol, and perhaps the picture that you see on your screens, this was when the inquest took place. That kind of corroborates what the Kolkata police maintains, that only authorized personnel were allowed close. There wasn't any sort of crowd around the body, and when the cops came in, they secured that area in the seminar hall. Suryagni, thanks for those details. Shreya, I'll request you to stay on with me, because even as we track the latest on the investigation, and this is what I started off the broadcast with, the kind of politics and protests we're witnessing. Another day, another BJP protest was held. There were many questions again raised about, the protest itself, which the TMC accused them of politicizing the incident. They attempted to protest and march towards the State Women's Commission office. They were, however, detained. But even as this happened, on the other side, there's posturing essentially by both sides. The BJP with their non-stop protests, the TMC with their non-stop shunning the blame, putting the focus on the centre. Mamata Banerjee shot off another letter to Prime Minister Modi, again talking about severe punishment for rape, this time highlighting how there are fast-track courts also in Bengal. And remember that the Mamata government is going to bring in a bill seeking death penalty for rapists. So a state will introduce a bill. We all know the punishment is meted out based on the current laws by the court. So this is clearly just grandstanding to send out a message that, look, we want the death penalty, because nothing more essentially can be done.
Raging protests in Kolkata over the RG Kaur Medical College and Hospital rape and murder horror that continues. Leaders from the BJP Women's Cell were stopped by the police after they tried to gheraw the State Women's Commission. Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee meanwhile shot off a second letter to Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Mamata in her letter asks why the Prime Minister did not reply to her first letter personally and why the Union Women and Child Welfare Ministry responded to her. The Chief Minister also said that the centre played down the contents of the letter and that the seriousness of the issue was not appreciated. Mamata has also said her government will pass a bill in the West Bengal Assembly making rape punishable with death. The BJP has hit back at Chief Minister Mamata, asking her to set up fast-track courts instead of writing letters.
लॉ होने से बात नहीं है, बात है इम्प्लीमेंट करने का। आप इम्प्लीमेंट नहीं कर रहे। सरकार ने, केंद्र सरकार ने बोला 127 आप फास्ट ट्रैक कोर्ट खोलिए, आपने नहीं खोला।
Meanwhile, Bengal Governor C.V. Anand Bose met Home Minister Amit Shah at his residence in Delhi and apprised him of the law and order situation in West Bengal.
The Women's Cell of BJP protested in front of the Women Commission Office of West Bengal, seeking justice for the incident of RG Kaur Hospital and also demanding the resignation of Chief Minister of Bengal, Mamata Banerjee. With camera person Shattaki, Anirban Sinha Roy for India Today, Kolkata.
So let's tell you about all of the multiple instances of how Mamata Banerjee is trying to send across a message that they are condemning this crime. But how are they doing this? Mamata government isn't focusing really like they should have from day one on the investigation, or for that matter, on what's really happening on ground. Instead, you're seeing a lot of posturing where they're trying to essentially pin the blame on the central government. You've had Mamata Banerjee writing to Prime Minister Modi twice, saying there's a need for exemplary punishment for rapists, saying the central government must take action in this regard. She's also vowed that there will be a bill passed in the Bengal Assembly seeking death penalty for rape. And this is going to happen with a special session expected to be convened next week. You had also Mamata Banerjee, ironically, the Chief Minister, the Home Minister of the state, holding a protest on the streets of Kolkata in her own state, demanding death penalty for rapists. So this has essentially been now the Trinamool Congress's campaign. They're focusing on death penalty for rapists. And Mamata Banerjee is saying the onus is on the central government to ensure that this is done. Now, this kind of posturing is, make no mistake, all about politics, because even as the TMC has been under fire over the multiple, over the protests that have happened, the crackdown on protesters, and of course the rape and murder case investigation itself, you're seeing this kind of posturing, letters being written to Prime Minister Modi, protests by Mamata herself over an incident that's happened in her state, and of course a bill that will effectively do nothing but just send out a message. Now, after President Murmu's enough is enough message on the Abhaya rape and murder case, Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar has also spoken out. He's also expressed his concern over what's happened, saying that fear in the mind of women is a national concern, and has questioned how can something like this happen in a hospital to a woman. He's also said where women aren't safe, it's not a civilized society. Let's play out for you what the Vice President has had to say.
जहां औरतें, लड़कियां अपने आप को सुरक्षित महसूस नहीं करती, वो समाज सभ्य समाज नहीं है, वो डेमोक्रेसी कलंकित है, वो हमारी प्रगति में सबसे बड़ा अवरोधक है। और आज के दिन the fear in the mind of our girls and women is a cause of concern. It's a national concern. This is painful.
All right, let's bring in Shreya Chatterjee on this. Shreya, while we've played out what the Vice President has to say, I just want to bring the focus back to what we're witnessing on the streets of Kolkata, the protests and politics that's playing out. On both sides, it's clear that they're trying to push their own agenda. For the BJP non-stop protest, they're demanding, conveniently, the resignation of Chief Minister Mamta Banerjee. As far as the Trinamool Congress is concerned, they're essentially putting the onus on the central government, only and only talking about punishment, the death penalty for rapists. So much so that they're talking about a bill which will do nothing. In a state to pass a bill about punishment for rape will do nothing. It's ultimately the courts that will decide.
Well, essentially, Akshita, there is a lot of things playing here right now in the state of Kolkata. Essentially, the Trinamool Congress, they want the entire issue to die down, and probably that's the reason they are suggesting that they will be bringing in a law, which is an anti-rape law, that they will be bringing in through the West Bengal Assembly on the 2nd of September. How far that is logical is something that, as you rightly mentioned, will be very soon understood by the people themselves. On the other side, the BJP obviously has realized that this is an opportunity to also ensue the kind of anger that is there within the people largely. But from what I have seen in Kolkata, Akshita, apart from the politics playing out, the civil society at large has distanced from the politics and they continue the dissent. Sporadic protests continue to happen in parts of the city. It's unfortunate, but they do not want to believe the version that is coming in from the investigation of the Kolkata police. And slowly, with the delay that is happening with the CBI investigation, their patience is also losing out. But they hope that justice will be served even when they are distancing from any kind of political affiliation. They continue their protest on the ground. So even if the Trinamool Congress do not want to agree this, there is a dissent within the civil society, and that's not entirely political.
And just quickly, Shreya, there's also a lot of focus on the CBI investigation, and the reality is that while the CBI has been probing this case for 12 plus days, there's not been a single arrest. There's seemingly no headway really on the probe. What's happening on that front?
Well, essentially, Akshita, we've already reported this from CBI sources that the gang rape angle has been ruled out. The CBI essentially understand that this is a rape case. Why it's taking time from the CBI to actually piece the remaining piece of investigation? Because they are looking at the cover-up angle. You do understand that if at all there was a tampering, is what the CBI also suggested in court, they will have to uncover forensic evidence that also back the claim that they have made. That is why, to entirely make their investigation watertight, they are moving back and forth with forensic evidence, scientific evidence. The kind of grilling that the RG Kar former principal is facing today is the 14th time that he's being called by the CBI, and not just the rape and murder case. We do know that the CBI is also looking at the financial irregularities angle. There is a hearing on the 5th of September. We are hoping by that time the CBI will be able to give a better clarity in what transpired in the in what happened in RG Kar. That's actually something that the entire city of Kolkata is now looking at.
Absolutely. There are so many unanswered questions even now about how this crime took place, and more importantly about the cover-up that was seemingly attempted by the hospital in this case. And hopefully the CBI will be able to answer those questions. Thanks, Shreya, for joining us with all of those details. We've been getting you every single day the latest updates coming in from the Malayalam film industry and the brave women survivors who are speaking out now, naming and publicly calling out the predators of the Malayalam film industry, of Mollywood, actor after actor, finally finding their voice after the Hema Committee report. Now, the latest that's come in is against actor Jayasuriya, one of the few young actors of Mollywood who've been named now in this entire storm, and named twice at that. So a second FIR has been registered now against actor Jayasuriya after another survivor claimed that he actually tried to hug her without her consent back in 2013. Meanwhile, more filmmakers also being named after Ranjit. VK Prakash has also been booked by the SIT for sexual harassment. Let's round up all the latest in our next report.
Nearly 20 complaints of sexual abuse. 10 accused and counting. Mollywood's Hall of Shame is getting bigger. A second FIR was registered against superstar Jayasuriya on Friday. This after a survivor filed a complaint with a special investigation team alleging that Jayasuriya sexually abused her when she joined the industry as a newcomer.
Yeah, actor Jayasuriya, the movie name Pigman, location Kerala, Todupuzha, exact place name, that 2013 releasing movie. Yeah, joined as a junior artist that movie. 5 members of SIT teams with 2 lady officers coming my house and take my statement, and yeah, they are filing cases.
A sexual harassment case has also been registered against director VK Prakash. Prakash has joined the long list of actors and directors to be booked by the SIT in Mollywood's Me Too movement. The ruling party CPM is facing the heat after party MLA and actor Mukesh was booked by the SIT for alleged sexual abuse. The Congress staged protest outside the secretariat in Thiruvananthapuram demanding Mukesh's resignation.
Series of cases is coming up against him. Not a single case. Every day, new cases are coming up. It is the duty of the CPM. They are ruling the state. They have to take action against the Mukesh. The CPM is protecting their MLA.
Meanwhile, support pours in for the survivors speaking out against the abusers.
We are rocked by this kind of scandal coming out. So there was an underbelly to it. That is the whole thing. And any underbelly for any system cannot be suppressed for a long period.
The skeletons in the Malayalam film industry started tumbling out soon after the Hema Committee report was released by the government on court orders. The committee headed by Justice Hema was formed by the Pinarayi Vijayan government in the aftermath of an alleged rape bid on an actor by gangsters allegedly paid by superstar Dileep. The Malayalam film industry stands completely divided. The Association of Malayalam Movie Artists, or AMMA, headed by Mohanlal, resigned this week over the Me Too wave that has swept Mollywood. The Women in Cinema collective, led by film workers including actors Parvati and Reema Kalingal, that spearheaded the fight for justice, says their struggle will continue. With Shivi Mol KG in Thiruvananthapuram, Bureau Report, India Today.
Let's bring in Shibi Mol now on this broadcast. She's joining us live from Thiruvananthapuram with all the latest updates. Shibi, trouble mounting for some of the top actors of Mollywood. For Jayasuriya alone, whose name came out just a few days ago, now you've got 2 women who've spoken out against him, 2 FIRs registered against him.
Well, exactly. Now, we have a total of 11 FIRs that have been registered so far. 2 of it are against actor Jayasuriya, who's, against whom maximum cases have been registered, maximum FIRs have been registered. So, definitely trouble mounting for him in particular, because he's the only name that's come out in the heroes, category. Also in the young actors category, also just Jayasuriya's name who's been come out, and definitely it's very, very difficult and a very, an extremely troubling situation for him, where we have not heard from him also. He's the only person among all of them who have been accused, who have never spoken against it or even denied any of these allegations. He has not moved legally also to oppose this, because Mukesh has already applied for anticipatory bail. Siddiq is also planning to apply. Ranjit also said that he will move legally against the complaints that's been registered against him. But from Jayasuriya, we've not yet heard from him. There are 2 actresses who have come out saying that, he's tried to outrage the modesty. There have been very serious charges that have been leveled against him, and he has chosen to remain silent. In fact, that's been the case with most of the stars in the industry, the main faces in the industry, who said that.
All right, we seem to have lost Shibi. We'll connect with her again, but thanks for the moment, Shibi, for joining us with all of those details. Shibi, telling us that Jayasuriya essentially hasn't even released a statement or any comment, offered any comment on 2 cases that have now been slapped against him. We'll, of course, continue getting you all the latest updates and the voices of these brave survivors. We're cutting across to breaking news coming in. Conman Sukesh Chandrasekhar has been granted bail in one of the cases against him. This is the 2-leaf symbol case in which he was accused of going ahead and cheating TTV Dinakaran and several others, claiming that he could help them get the 2-leaf symbol when there was a legal fight over it. Delhi's Rouse Avenue Court has granted regular bail to Sukesh Chandrasekhar. But keep in mind that there are multiple cases against him, so he's not going to walk out of jail. He remains behind bars. Nalini Sharma is joining us with more details. So on this, Nalini, some relief for Sukesh, but considering there are multiple cases against this conman, he's not going to walk out.
Yes, Akshita, and it's important to understand that the reason why he's been granted bail is essentially because he's served more than half the time that he would have if he had been convicted in the case. But since the trial has not yet completed in the case, which is why the court has gone ahead and granted him bail, because the direction had also come in from the Supreme Court, where the judges had said that the courts need to be more vigilant in grant of liberty and grant of bail, and especially in bail matters. So keeping in mind that he spent more than half the time that he would have had to if he had been convicted already in jail, he has been granted bail. He will, of course, not walk out because there are several other cases that are pending against him and he is in judicial custody for that. But our colleague Shrishti Ojha getting us the update that in the 2-leaf symbol case, he has officially been granted bail, and it remains to be seen whether the same follows in other cases as well.
There will be questions of the authorities on what led to the delay in actually expediting this case and holding Sukesh guilty if they had the evidence against him. And we see this happening far too often. Thanks, Nalini, for joining us with those details. The last few days in Maharashtra, politics has been dominated by the collapse of a Shivaji statue. It's led to a political showdown and huge embarrassment, of course, for the Maharashtra government, which is why you've had apologies pouring in from the Chief Minister, the Deputy Chief Minister, and today from the Prime Minister himself, who said that he bows down before Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj and apologizes for the collapse of the 35-foot statue. With polls right around the corner, obviously the statue collapse has become a huge issue of Maratha pride.
मेरे आराध्य देव छत्रपति शिवाजी महाराज की उनके चरणों में मस्तक रख के माफी मांगता हूं.
Prime Minister Modi apologizing for the collapse of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj's statue in Maharashtra's Sindhudurg district.
मेरे लिए छत्रपति शिवाजी महाराज ये सिर्फ नाम नहीं है. हमारे लिए छत्रपति शिवाजी महाराज ये सिर्फ राजा महाराजा राजपुरुष मात्र नहीं है. हमारे लिए छत्रपति शिवाजी महाराज आराध्य देव है. और मैं आज सर झुका करके मेरे आराध्य देव छत्रपति शिवाजी महाराज की उनके चरणों में मस्तक रख के माफी मांगता हूं.
The 35-foot statue of the 17th century Maratha warrior king collapsed on Monday, less than 9 months after it was unveiled by the Prime Minister. In Palghar, to lay the foundation of one of India's biggest sports, the Vadhavan project, the Prime Minister also hit out at Rahul Gandhi.
हमारे संस्कार अलग है. हम वो लोग नहीं हैं जो आए दिन भारत मां के महान सपूत इसी धरती के लाल वीर सावरकर को अनाप शनाप गालियां देते रहते हैं, अपमानित करते रहते हैं. देशभक्तों की भावनाओं को कुचलते हैं. वीर सावरकर को गालियां देने के बावजूद भी माफी मांगने को जो तैयार नहीं है, महाराष्ट्र की जनता उनके संस्कार को अब जान ले.
The collapse of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj's statue in Maharashtra's Sindhudurg district has triggered a big political storm. Months before the state heads to polls, the statue collapse has become an issue of Maratha pride. Under fire, Maharashtra Chief Minister has also apologized again.
छत्रपति शिवाजी महाराज तो हमारे लिए भगवान है, ईश्वर है, देवता है. उनके सामने, उनके चरणों पर एक बार नहीं 100 बार माथा टेकने के लिए हम तैयार हैं. उसमें हमें कोई कमी नहीं महसूस होगी, क्योंकि उनके ही आदर्श पर इस राज्य का कारोबार शुरू है.
Shinde's deputy Ajit Pawar was on ground for a statue check.
मागही आवाहन केलेलं आहे की ह्याच्या पूर्णपणे डीप मध्ये जाऊन जे कोणी दोषी असेल त्यांच्यावर त्या ठिकाणी कारवाई केली जाईल. पळून पळून कुठं जाणार आहे? महाराष्ट्राच्या तर बाहेर जाऊ शकत नाही किंवा देशाच्या बाहेर जाऊ शकत नाही, तर नाही त्या ठिकाणी शोधलं जाईल आणि त्यांच्याकडनं देखील काय त्यांचं म्हणणं आहे, काय कशा पद्धतीने हे सगळं झालं.
But the Mahavikas Aghadi is not buying the apologies. In fact, the opposition has come out all guns blazing, accusing the BJP Shiv Sena government of corruption.
बहुत बड़ी दुख की बात है. उस निर्माण में बहुत बड़ा भ्रष्टाचार हुआ है. ये भ्रष्ट सरकार ने छत्रपति शिवाजी महाराज को भी नहीं छोड़ा.
शिवाजी महाराज का पुतला फूटना ये महाराष्ट्र के लिए शुभ संकेत नहीं है. ये वार जो हुआ है ये दिल पे हुआ है. महाराष्ट्र पूरा यानी उसका खून खौल रहा है.
प्रधानमंत्री से उद्घाटन करवाना था, एक बड़ा इवेंट करना था, इसलिए 3 साल जिस पुतले को बनाने में लग सकते थे उसको 6 महीने आपने करा दिया, और उसकी चोट चुनाव में महायुति के नेताओं को सहन करनी पड़ेगी.
The Maharashtra government has announced plans to install a larger statue at the same site, while the Indian Navy has pledged to expedite efforts to repair and reinstate the statue. Meanwhile, a structural consultant has been arrested in connection with the statue collapse. Bureau Report, India Today.
So even as Prime Minister Modi has apologized, as you just heard, the Uddhav Sena has lashed out at the BJP and Prime Minister Modi. Priyanka Chaturvedi is taken to social media to claim that the launch and the inauguration of the Shivaji statue was hastened for the polls, was done just so that Prime Minister Modi can unveil it in time for the elections, even before it was ready. Priyanka Chaturvedi has said that the apology that's coming from Prime Minister is too little, too late, and it's only happened because of outcry. This even as several opposition leaders have also taken to social media to seek accountability, saying, well and good, there's been an apology, but there must be accountability. Who was responsible for the shoddy construction and the upkeep of the statue? So it's clear that even with the Prime Minister apologizing, the politics isn't ending anytime now.
कई तरह की अफवाहें उड़ रही हैं कि हमारी फिल्म इमरजेंसी को सेंसर सर्टिफिकेट मिल गया है. इट इज़ नॉट ट्रू. इनफैक्ट हमारी फिल्म क्लियर हो गई थी, लेकिन उसकी सर्टिफिकेशन रोक ली गई है क्योंकि बहुत ज़्यादा धमकियां आ रही हैं जान से मार देने की, और सेंसर वालों को बहुत ज़्यादा धमकियां आ रही हैं. तो हम पे ये प्रेशर है कि मिसेस गांधी के असैसिनेशन ना दिखाएं, भिंडनवाला को ना दिखाएं, पंजाब राइट्स ना दिखाएं. आई डोंट नो कि फिर क्या दिखाएं कि क्या हुआ कि फिल्म अचानक से ब्लैकआउट हो जाती है. सो this is unbelievable time for me, and I'm very sorry for the state of things in this country.
Your party's government has this year announced something called Samvidhan Hatya Divas. That to me sounds like, a refusal to look at it in shades of grey, as you are suggesting. But in terms of black and white, how does your vision of Indira Gandhi reconcile with this? Or it's okay to have two views. I'm not saying it's not okay to have two views.
You're being very limited in approach. When we see a human is a possibility. A human is a possibility.
As different from emergency?
No, a human is a possibility. I could be a don, a criminal, but I can be a very good father to my children. My children would not see me as a don or criminal. I could be a very kind neighbor. I could be a serial killer, but there may be one person I'm doing everything for. So a human is a possibility.
Yeah.
A human always has a chance to be, but that we are talking about a human, but an action. When you talk about an action, then there is no scope of shades of gray or white. An action has an intent, and an intent has consequences. It has a destiny, and it will roll in so many other events that will never be the, life of their people who are doing it, or the ones who are being subjected to, will never be the same again. So when you talk about actions, they can be perceived in completely black and white. So when we talk about Mrs. Gandhi, yes, she is, when she divided Pakistan, or when she, whether Harit Kranti, Green Revolution, there are so many things that can be attributed to her. But emergency, no, she needs to be called out for that.